Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with the 10 least interesting works of 10 major composers. Now, this is going to be a series, as I'm sure you could see coming. This is going to be, we're going to have so much fun. I really think it's important for everybody to just accept that no matter how great a composer they may be, whoever it is, they always have their off days. Some pieces are less interesting than others. Some of them, for whatever reason, resist popularity. And so I propose to make a list, 10 different works by 10 different composers to start us off. And I just know, as sure as I'm sitting here, that you're going to have some comments. And maybe some of your own who will appear in future lists. So are you ready? Here we go. Wagner Rienzi, both the overture and the opera. Let's talk about the overture for a minute. The overture to Rienzi is basically Rossini with constipation. It is heavy, it is bombastic, it is trashily orchestrated, it's noisy, it's melodically impoverished, and it's everything early Wagner escaped. You see, the genius of Wagner was that he knew his early stuff was garbage, and he had to essentially revolutionize music as he knew it because he could not work within the existing forms. He was terrible at it. And Rienzi is a case in point. Now, the opera itself is a huge French-style grand opera monstrosity with some very effective arias and a lot of dead weight, tons of dead weight. And the overture, well, the overture is famous for having a trumpet opening. Yeah, we go. And then we have one tune in the introduction, da 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 da, which is the best tune in the whole opera, and you get to hear it a bunch of times. And then you've got the allegro. Oh my God, it's horrible. Absolutely horrible. And when the march tune, da-da-da, da-da-dum, ba-ba-dum, ba-ba-da-dum, it always reminds me of La Gazza Ladra with indigestion. It really does. There's something about its internal plumbing that isn't going properly in that piece. It is such trash. And that doesn't mean it isn't fun to listen to once in a while. You may like it. And here's the point I want to make, by the way, in all of these things. This is not about whether you like something or not. It has nothing to do with that. So what I do not want to hear in the comments is, how could you say it? I love it. Well, who cares what you love? I've said this time and time again. Who cares what I love? I'm just talking about either what the music is, and point of fact, and if you like junk food, you just admit it. Rienzi's trash. Sometimes we like trash. It's okay to say that you like it. Or, for whatever reason, it's just not popular. The judgment of history is that it's not interesting. So Wagner's Rienzi is definitely up there in least interesting works that still get performed anyway by major composers. Next, Debussy, the Martyrdom of Saint Sebastian. I mean, what the hell is the Martyrdom of Saint Sebastian? Actually, it was one of those Ida Rubinstein contraptions. She's going to appear more than once here, actually. She had a habit of commissioning or working with the composer's least interesting pieces, except for Bolero. That was Ravel's Bolero was her big hit. It really was. But anyway, Ida Rubinstein was this actress, dancer, reciter. She was a personality, a big personality in Paris in the first decades of the 20th century. And lots of people wrote stuff for her. And the Martyrdom of Saint Sebastian was this miracle play, it was Parsifal in drag. That's basically what it was. I mean, it was Debussy's, attempt to do something like that, of the mystical, gosh only knows. The music itself is surpassingly uninteresting, no matter how many times it's been recorded. I mean, it's pretty, it's nice, it's pleasant, but does anybody get enthusiastic? and say, oh, I just have to listen to the Martyrdom of St. Sebastian, or, oh, I just saw the Martyrdom of St. Sebastian, the suite, the symphonic suite that he made from it, and it was a transformative experience. No, nobody does. It's just there because Debussy didn't write a lot of orchestral music, and we need to snatch it, everything we can get our hands on, and that's one of the things we get our hands on. So that's number 2. Number 3, well, we've talked about this before, Beethoven's Triple Concerto. It is Beethoven's least interesting large orchestral work by a mile. And most people admit that. Now, some people do, like when we talked about it before, and we did a repertoire thing, you said, I love the Triple Concerto. Well, fine, love it. Go ahead. I like it. I mean, it's pretty. I like the last movement. Last movement's real catchy. But the Triple Concerto was a formal experiment in which Beethoven really learned how to deal with classical concerto form as Mozart sort of understood it. And it has a form which is extremely similar in its overall shape to that of the Fourth Piano Concerto, where Beethoven got everything right, and which is one of the unimpeachable masterpieces of human civilization. And if you compare the two, you can see exactly why the Fourth Piano Concerto is a masterpiece, and the Triple Concerto is, well, yeah, especially the first movement. It's really a tough piece in terms of how it progresses and what it does. And again, if you like it, go ahead, knock yourself out. But it's definitely Beethoven's least interesting major work. Next, number 4, Tchaikovsky's Third Symphony. Now, this is another work that a bunch of you have come and said, it's my favorite Tchaikovsky symphony. I love it. It's gorgeous. It has some wonderful tunes. It really does. It's subtitled the Polish. I don't know why. I mean, don't tell me because it has a Polish thing in it. I don't care. But, it's subtitled the Polish, which doesn't help. Let's put it that way. It doesn't tell us anything meaningful about what the music is going to do. There is something about this piece that history has decided is the least interesting of all of the Tchaikovsky symphonies. And, it's all relative. All of this is comparative. You may think it's fabulous, but the fact of the matter is, if you compare the first, the second, the fourth, the fifth, or the sixth, which one is going to get the sorry, nice try award? It's going to be the third. It really is. 9 times out of 10, and there's no arguing with the judgment of history. It is what it is. We may think it's wrong. We may dispute it, but it's Tchaikovsky's Third Symphony. It was a nice effort, but sorry, no cigar, Mr. Tchaikovsky. Oh, and this one is really good. Number 5, Handel, Joseph and His Brethren. Do you even know what that is? Handel actually wrote an oratorio called Joseph and His Brethren. It's about Joseph and his brethren. Not surprisingly. It is the dullest piece of music he ever wrote by a long shot. It has what is commonly considered the most horrible English text that he ever set. It has no discernible story. It has no drama about it whatsoever. It was Handel saying, I need something for next week's oratorio. Oh, I need something desperately. I have 2 days. I could write a new one. And he did. And this was the result. And no one has ever had a kind word to say about it since. And having listened to it many times in order to write my book on Handel's oratorios, and I am, when I write these books, I am counsel for the defense. I really try my best to find something wonderful in everything that I talk about to justify going and listening to it. But this frankly defeated me. It really did. There is no reason to listen to it because there is nothing in it that Handel didn't do better elsewhere. And this is a topic that we should return to because the question is not always, is it in itself wonderful? It's, does it justify the time you're going to spend listening to it, even if it isn't a total travesty, when there are so many other pieces by the same composer that reward your time so much more richly? And boy, is this one of those instances. So Joseph and his brethren is the Handel oratorio to avoid, for sure. And after that, what do we... Oh, another one. Puccini's La Rondine. Do you know La Rondine? La Rondine for centuries existed in one studio recording on RCA. And then, of course, digital happened and Insanity happened and a bunch more popped up. La Rondine began life as a request for Puccini to write a Viennese operetta. And he didn't want to do that. He wanted to write an actual opera without dialogue, that was sung all the way through. And so he wrote this 3-act thing, and Ricordi didn't even want to publish it. They said it was second-rate Lehar. And it may be. And Puccini himself was completely dissatisfied with it, and he revised it 3 times. And so it exists in no definitive form because he died before he could put it into final shape. It has 2 different endings. It is musically, it's Puccini. You can tell it's Puccini. It has maybe a few too many waltz-like things in it, But it's Puccini. It's Puccini that no one cares about. And really one of the tragedies about Puccini's career was that, just as he was getting his gumption back, because remember, he did La Rondine, and he did Trittico, he did The Girl of the Golden West, which was also considered one of his non-entities as a work. And then he started Turandot, and he was really going like gangbusters, and he dropped dead before he finished it. And that was really a pity. I think Trittico is marvelous too, by the way. So it wasn't all hits and misses, or all misses, but he had some hits in there too. But La Rondine, that was always the Puccini opera that nobody cared about, and that people were very surprised to find out existed. A rondine, by the way, is a swallow. It's a bird of some kind, and it applies to one of the characters in the thing. And I've tried to get into it. I have a bunch of the recordings of it, and every so often I take it on and I listen to it, and then find myself thinking about, shopping or what I have to do at work tomorrow, or maybe, my next video, or reading a book, or going to the bathroom, or, any number of fascinating activities that I would prefer to do than continue to listen to La Rondine. So there you go. Now we're on number 6. 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, yeah, 7. We're staying with opera. This is a good one. Puccini said that La Rondine was going to be like De Rosenkavalier, only lighter and better and more organic. Well, that didn't work out. But lest you Straussians all laugh when, heaping guffaws of Schadenfreude, well, Arabella by Strauss. Ugh, boy, is that bad. Arabella is Der Rosenkavalier, only instead of a silver rose, you have a glass of water. And that really sums up everything you need to know about the opera, because Rosenkavalier is silvery and rose-like, and Arabella, it's a glass of water. Really as interesting as a glass of water ever is. Actually, the problem with Arabella was that Hofmannsthal wrote the libretto, Strauss's favorite librettist, and he died before he and Strauss could work on it and fix it. And Strauss, out of fidelity to Hofmannsthal, and it was really very touching, decided to set the libretto exactly as he wrote it. And everybody considers that to be one of the big problems. I don't think that's the biggest problem. Yes, it's wordy and it goes on too long, but that's true of almost everything Strauss wrote. No, the problem is the story is horrible. I mean, Arabella is just, her parents are bourgeois who've lost their money, and they're basically trying to sell her to the highest bidder. And it is the most morally repugnant scenario. I mean, these people are totally unlovely. There are no characters in it that you, aside from Arabella, who you would want to give time of day to. And because of that, because the characters are basically uninteresting, the situations are boring. I mean, they go to a ball, the Fiaker ball, actually, in Vienna, and she meets Mandrika and gives him a glass of water. And that takes 3 hours. No. I'm sorry. I happen to like a lot of late Strauss. I think some of his late operas are absolute masterpieces. I think they're fantastic. And really, really just, Die Liebe der Dane is beautiful, and Die Schweigsame Frau is great, and I think Intermezzo is really clever and witty and unique. And I mean, there's really good stuff that he wrote. Friedenstag is horrible. That's right up there with Arabella. I could have mentioned that. But Arabella has a bit more of a reputation than Friedenstag. You want to like Arabella because you think you should, because it's so much like Der Rosenkavalier, only it isn't. So, Arabella. Sorry. So after Arabella, oh yeah, Mozart, the Coronation Mass. Gosh, what a piece of slop that is. I don't understand anybody tolerating it. It is dull beyond belief. It's only about 30 minutes long, which is okay. Yeah, thank God it's not longer. Mozart was the worst composer of liturgical music in the entire classical period. He did not have a spiritual shred in his being anywhere. He only got a little bit when he did the magic flute, and that's only because it wasn't Christianity he was dealing with. He really was just awful. His great choral works, the Requiem, he died, and the C minor Mass he never finished. He wasn't going to finish anything because he just didn't care. He truly didn't care. He could do a workmanlike job when he was told he had to. That's why he got thrown out of Salzburg. That's why they hired Michael Haydn. I mean, I remember vividly doing the Mozart Credo Mass. You know that one? The one that has the same tune that's in the Jupiter Symphony. Credo, credo, in unum Deum Patrem omnipotent. I can sing the whole thing. What fascinated me about it, what was so funny, is that you could tell that Mozart was hating every minute of it, because wherever you do like word painting, like Descendi de Celis, the vocal line always goes down, right? Because it's descending. Well, Mozart goes up. And when things go up, they go down. And when Mozart talks about in unam Catholicam, one Catholic Church, usually it's like a unison statement, he breaks into polyphony. It's hilarious. He does everything he can to play havoc with what the words are actually illustrating. I mean, he just couldn't have cared less. And the Coronation Mass is the biggest surviving Mozart completed liturgical work, which is an absolute, complete, total monument to his indifference, as far as I'm concerned. It's just tedious beyond all reckoning and expressively a nullity. And that's saying something for Mozart. That really is. Now, the Coronation Mass, of course, has its popular elements because it is Mozart's sort of biggest completed liturgical work. I mean, that's really all we have. And since it's Mozart, people tolerate it. But had it not been by Mozart, would anyone give it time of day? I mean, really? Seriously? I doubt it. I really doubt it. So the Coronation Mass is high on my list of nothingness by major composers. Then we come back to Stravinsky. And I think Ida Rubinstein again, actually, I think she pops up again. Persephone. Now, here's one where I disagree. I think Persephone is gorgeous. Persephone is Stravinsky's largest neoclassical work before the Rake's Progress. It's right up there with, the Symphony of Psalms and Apollo and Orpheus and, all of those late neoclassical and the Greek mythological things. And you would think it's marvelous. And I think it is marvelous. It has a narrator. The narrator is problematic. I think the narrator originally was Ida Rubinstein or someone like that. But I think the music's beautiful. For some reason, I can't understand, as I can well understand with the Coronation Mass, Persephone has never caught on. I mean, Oedipus Rex, I think it's incredible. Everybody loves Oedipus Rex. Persephone is in that line. Maybe there just isn't room for more than what we have, for more than, if you write 2 or 3 masterpieces in a certain idiom, and then you do another one, everyone just goes, we did that last week. It's not as interesting as this one. That could be the reason. I don't know. But every time I've heard it, I have just been amazed by how good the music is and why it is that nobody pays any attention to it. I don't get it. I truly don't. Maybe you can explain it to me. And I can express my bafflement, and you can express your determination to show that I am absolutely tasteless and completely beyond help. You know, there you go. But last but not least, however, the most worthless piece of music, the most uninteresting piece of music by a major composer, and this is a biggie. It's Brahms Rinaldo. When was the last time you listened to Rinaldo? Rinaldo is Brahms's largest orchestral work. It's as big as the German Requiem. I think it's actually maybe a little bit longer. Well, it depends on the tempos. But it's right up there. It's in the same range. It's for soloists and male chorus. You know the story of Rinaldo. It's Orlando. It's Roland. It's Rinaldo. It's one of those, crusader running around. I get them all confused. Orlando and Rinaldo aren't the same. Roland and Rinaldo, or I don't know. I don't know if they are or they aren't. I mean, what's there's Handel did a couple of them. He did both of them. He did Orlando and he did Rinaldo, and they're different. Thank you. Rinaldo is the one who is in love with Armida, right? And Orlando is the one who's in love with some other sorceress person or something. I'll never get it straight. My mythology is hopelessly confused. But Rinaldo is interminable. If you thought me just wondering what the whole thing is was annoying, wait till you hear Rinaldo. It's endless. It is the musical explanation, the incredibly long and tedious explanation as to why Brahms never wrote an opera. And thank God he never tried. Because boy, oh boy, would we have been in trouble if it was anything like Rinaldo. And don't you think it's fascinating that somebody like Brahms, who could be more famous than Brahms, could write a big choral work like Rinaldo and have nobody care? Well, just listen to it. You'll understand why nobody cares. It's been recorded a few times now. It's out there. It's easy to find. Go have some fun if you want to. I leave it entirely up to you. I will listen to other things. So keep on listening, friends. Those are the 10 very uninteresting works by major composers. I have another list already prepared, but feel free to give me your own suggestions. Let's see how far we can go with this. It could be a lot of fun, or it could just be irritating and we may quit after a couple of them. Let's see how it goes. So keep on listening. Thank you so much for joining me. Take care.